3 weeks later, many months later.
All right. Good evening, guys. Happy Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We're almost there, middle of the week, okay? Count your blessings. Welcome to the Real Precious Network. You are tuned into the Adoptee Foster Show, and tonight we have a good show for you. It's going to be a good one. If you've been following me on Instagram, you saw a post that I posted, and we're going to go over it tonight. But before we do that, Mr. Leon, how are you this evening, sir?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired, if you really want to know the truth, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing well. Glad to be in the number this evening for this show. We're going to have a good one. Guys, definitely hit that like button on your way in. Thank you guys so much for being here. Definitely hit the like button. Share the live so the algorithm know that we're algorithming here on the Real Precious Network. And we're having this important conversation tonight because I think it's important to go over topics such as this, especially because of the plot twist. Stay tuned for the plot twist, okay? Share this to your family, your friends, your loved ones, and even your enemies, okay? Because they can learn something too. All right, let's get into it. I see some people in the chat, and I got to give y'all some love. Thank you guys for watching. If you're over on Facebook, thank you so much for watching. Tune in. I will be dropping the link for those who would like to join the show. Y'all know my one rule is no disrespect or you're getting kicked out. Okay. Vision to Fit. Thank you so much for being here, love. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. At average_man is in the building. Good evening. Buenas noches. Good evening. Worldwide Collaborations is here as well. Showing some love right back. Hit the like button because the moderator, Manalik, said so. Okay, he's an OG. You got to listen to them. All right, he has privileges over here. All right, Leon in the chat saying hello to the folks. Good evening. Salute to you as well. Let's get started here. We're gonna get into this, okay? We're gonna get into this. Chelsea is in the chat. Hey, love. Chelsea actually joined the live last week. Has some really insightful things to say. Thank you so much for joining. If you'd like to join again, I will be dropping the link. So you're welcome, more than welcome to come up on the live. A-Team, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button, guys. Share the live and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you get the notifications when I'm going live. I try my best to advertise it on Instagram and send you guys a link to the show and let you guys know that I'm going live. But if you would like to get that notification of when I'm going live on this show, on Wednesday night, we do have the men's forum. So it is a men's panel. Doesn't mean that all men are on the show. Women are allowed to pop up on the show as well. However, I had the men's panel for probably a year, maybe some change. So I thought I'd bring it back with some of the guys I go live with, but some new blood, some fresh blood is always welcome. So head on over here on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we have that show. But definitely hit the bell notification so you know. You know, you can't say I ain't tell you. Hit that bell notification. You'll know. You'll know. All right. So I was scrolling through these YouTube streets, excuse me, the Instagram streets, because, you know, we look for content, we look for things to react to, we look for topics to bring to the show. So you guys are aware, you're informed, you're educated on certain things. And I came across this video. I believe I came across it on Instagram. And then, you know, I had to do my detective work, okay, and search for it elsewhere and see what was going on with the video. You know, you go in the comments, you know, people either tell on themselves or maybe the person in the video is in the comments. You know, you just learn a lot by researching this content and going over this content to, you know, have to review with you guys. And I came across a young lady who pretty much, you know, she got up one morning and she turned her camera on, she pressed record, and she's like, look, today is the last day I'm going to have my child. I'm dropping her off at school. I don't want no parts of motherhood. Okay. So I'm going to play the video. You guys definitely drop your thoughts in the chat, but we're going to discuss
the day that I get to drop my daughter off for the rest of her life. I can't really say that I feel sad about it. I really don't care. I gave up custody of my kid. I put her up for adoption. She's 7 years old. Oh, sorry. I literally just woke up. She's going to school. I'm about to drop her off to her last day of school. I have to take her to. And then the adoptees are picking her up from the...
Remember, she said the adoptees are picking her up.
School pickup line. And yeah, I'm a free woman after that. I'm selling my house. I'm buying an RV. I'm about to travel the world. I'm pretty excited.
She's pretty excited. Looking like this.
I have been like waiting for this moment my entire life, ever since I had her, and I was being guilty and not giving her up just because like I felt like as a mom you're not supposed to give your kid up. But then I had a good talk with like my boyfriend.
Her boyfriend.
And he said that it doesn't matter what other people think, it's what you want, and I don't want a kid, so.
Excuse me?
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she had said. Okay.
All right, look, let's just get into it. First of all, if you have a kid and then like you all of a sudden you just want to travel the world and you want to be free and why had a kid in the first place?
Okay. Come on, somebody.
Like, and there's so many, we talk about it all the time. There's so many people that can't have kids, that want kids. But you got this person who, well, I just woke up one day on the other side of the bed and I'm just gonna say, you know, this is it. Like this your last day in this house, this your last day being a part of my life. I don't want nothing to do with it. And she don't have any, like she's not showing any kind of emotion. Like you can even look in her eyes and like she looked like she like just dead to the world. Like she just so overwhelmed, you know, and that she you know, obviously she's thought about this for a long time. She probably been feeling like this ever since she had the kid, you know, and she don't want no parts. Like she talking about selling her house and like you know, buying an RV and, you know, basically living off the grid type of life, you know. Um I don't get it. There's so many like what about her parents? You know, what about her sister or brother? His, you know, I don't know if he had kids with, I don't know if she had kids with the guy she's with, but it doesn't really, you know, doesn't really say like what that dynamic is. You know, there's always some context missing. You know, these videos they just tell the part that make them look good, instead of telling the whole story.
Yeah. Uh, straight off the wake up. Straight off the wake up, putting her hair in a ponytail, wiping the eye boogies out of her eyes. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to be a mom. I'm dropping her off. And she said, see, something piqued my interest. And if you're not, I don't want to say if you're not adopted, because you may be educated. So you don't necessarily have to be adopted to know adoption terms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when she said that she's dropping her daughter off for the last time in the pickup line, and the adoptees are coming to pick her child up, that's when my antennas went off. But we're going to save that for a little later. But my antennas went up because adoptees are people who are adopted. They are not the adoptors. They're not the people who are adopting. They are the people who are adopted. So when she said that, I was like, seemed a little off. However, we're going to get back to that. My first reaction to this video was, man, children got to go through it and don't even know they got to go through it. Like, your child is 7 years old. Anyone with a 7-year-old, raise your hand. Anywhere around that age, raise your hand, right? 7 years old. What's that? What's that? Second grade, third grade? Somewhere around there, right? And you get dropped off by your mom every day. And then this one day, your mom decides that is going to be the last day. She says in another video, we'll get to that one, that she prepped her daughter for the day, like pretty much telling her, look, you're not going to be with mommy anymore. Our time is pretty much limited. But I just think in this case, we hear so much about parents who do the worst to their children, meaning they unalive them, they torture them, and they do so much to them, except, probably put the child in someone else's care. The only thing I don't like about this video is just, she's just so heartless. It just seems like she's so heartless. However, there are women who are not emotionally attached to the children that they have. Now, this don't have to be an adoptive foster care situation. There are biological mothers who are just not emotionally attached to their children. It's almost like the child is looking at them like, but you gave birth to me. You know what I mean? And the mom is looking at them like, get away from me. So I think out of everything, that is the issue that I have with this video, especially because it goes to the masses when you post it online. When you post it online, you make it seem like, or others may be in the same position of saying, I don't feel like being a mother today. Like as if that is such a viable option,
Mm-hmm.
as your child is getting older. That's what I don't like about it, how heartless she is. And because of her demeanor towards it, it gives others the go ahead to, or the permission to say, you know what, I don't feel like doing this today. There was a woman in social media probably around like a year ago, and she has, I believe, like 3 or 4 children. And she was saying how she doesn't get any help from the children's fathers. She's in school. She got like 2 jobs, and she needs for the state to come get her kids. And, we all know that the state, their goal, their supposed goal, is for unification of the children with the parents. So if the biological parents are raising these kids to a certain age and then saying, oh, it's becoming too much, I don't have time, I don't have the emotional bandwidth, I just don't know what to do. Obviously they don't have any villages to help them raise the children. um when they make foster care and adoption an option as easy as they do, other people are going to do the same thing out of not being able to carry the depths of their decisions, right? I think a lot of cases where adoption and foster care is the option is when the parent really doesn't have um, they don't have the financial means to really take care of a child. In her situation, she never said that she didn't have the financial means. She never said that these kids were in danger. That's another reason why your children will, you know, be taken from you, or you have to give up your parental rights as if they're in an unsafe situation. You don't
Mhm.
have the financial means, you are thinking about harming yourself. Anywhere where the environment for the child is not conducive to that child's well-being, their growth, their mental and emotional stability, yes, the child will be removed. Now, you've been taking your daughter to school for 7 years. 7 years. Do you have any
Mhm.
paperwork? Do you have any documentation saying that because of this obligation and this responsibility, you are going out of your mind, you are now mentally unstable, you were like, you would rather give your child up than to go through the avenues of gaining that mental stability, or even if you need help, gaining the resources to be able to afford maybe daycare or get a stipend from the state to take care of some of the like none of that. It's like, I don't want to do any of that anymore. And that's what I don't like about the video. It's one day I woke up, because child, you know how many days I be waking up like, Lord. But do you really think that I would be like, yeah, today's the last day. Have a nice walk to the bus stop. Your adoptees are going to pick you up today. That is just damaging to the child, of course, because the children are supposedly supposed to be the first, line of protection here, and it seems as though she is just giving up, simply
And
just
she
giving.
doesn't, it's like she wants an easy life. She
Mm-hmm.
wants a life where she doesn't have to do anything, and the responsibility that she has, she doesn't want.
Yeah.
She wants to be able to do whatever she wants to do, wake up whenever she want to wake up. You know, she probably want to go to some kind of party she been wanting to go to, or go travel, or
She gonna travel the
it's
world in
all,
her RV.
yeah, it's all related to some kind of travel thing that they trying to get into, and instead of her actually being an adult and taking care of her responsibility and raising a good young adult into a grown person. Um, now that like, can you imagine like those conversations she was having like ahead of time? Like how you mentally game for that? Like,
Right.
I she set her down like, look, mommy can't do it anymore. I don't know what to do. So we're going to give you away to another family, or I don't even know how you even start that conversation. Like, what does that
You
even?
don't. You don't. You don't start that conversation. I'm gonna get to some of these comments in the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're just joining, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this live, let the algorithm and YouTube folks know that we over here talking about some adoption teams. Okay. So I see a few questions in the chat. Um, and let me see here. I just want to make sure. All right. So then I'm gonna drop the link, and then we're gonna go into the next video. Chelsea says, selfish traits. I'm not surprised. I hope the kid went to a loving home. That's what I always worry about. And of course, the child is going to go to a home. I don't know about a loving home. We hope and we pray, right? It's a loving home. And you know the child hopefully is going to be taken care of in this situation. It is the thing about adoption and children is either your trauma hits you quickly or your trauma is lingering until you're well enough, old enough to understand what happened. Like I said in the comments on Instagram, she is going to search for the memory of the last time she was dropped off in the school line. She's going to search for that memory in the future. It's going to be a memory to her, and she's probably, kids are kids and you don't know what's going on. You take the direction of adults, and so you keep it moving. Like just like you in a line at school, you keep it moving. Like we're not stopping for anybody. We're heading in one direction. That's what we're doing. It is not until she gets older until she's gonna start thinking about mom and the last time she was dropped off, and now you have this new environment to get used to, and now you may be going to bed at a different time, you may now have siblings, you may all of this at 7 years old. This isn't happening at baby stages. This is happening when you're in elementary school and you're meeting other children and you're forming friend groups and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. The child is going to be okay. It's just a prolonged trauma that hits you. So she sacrificed giving up her daughter so she can travel the world. It sounds more like she's running away from her responsibilities to raise a child. Run away, love. That's exactly what she's doing. She's running away. She's running away. And you know how many people, if this, that's why I don't like this. Posts like this and videos like this, because you know how many people would do that. I've seen a trend. I went on TikTok to research this video, and there's a trend of people making somewhat of a mockery of adoption and foster care online because it's another option, right?
I think you mentioned that before. I think you mentioned that last week too.
Yeah, like it's becoming a trend. We talked about it when we were live on Instagram lives, when we were going live over there. And it's just a trend, like the little girl who said that, she was living at home with white people who didn't like her and they weren't feeding her. Come to find out, she living at home with her black mama. Like, it's like, why, how adoption, when we were younger and you told somebody that a lot of people didn't tell people that they were adopted or in foster care because the embarrassment and the shame. And now it's being something to play on people's heartstrings. And I'm not necessarily liking that. This is a good topic for us being adopted. Yes, Jordan. Hola, welcome. It's been a minute. How are you? Highway 20 Skinny says, can she leave her child with someone in the family? I mean, with her demeanor, it doesn't seem like she has any. And if she does, it doesn't seem like they want to deal with her. Maybe this could be trauma from her past. And, it's a lot of things. And, when it comes to foster care and adoption, they do try to put the child with next of kin. And in some cases, that's not always the case, because taking on a child is a huge responsibility, no matter how noble you think it is. It's another mouth to feed. It's more money to dish out for, clothes, food, extracurricular. All it's responsibility. And a lot of people don't want to have that responsibility, let alone their own. Taking in someone else's is just added responsibility. She just want to feel good and have fun. Yes, that's exactly what she want to do. Chelsea says, this is a concern because I wonder if an increase of giving up children for selfish reasons like that are going to happen. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, she reached a conclusion to give her child up for adoption so she can travel the world. Did that witch even seek counseling or Look, she needs to, right? She needs to, because either that or this is just her MO. Like, she just, again, everyone keeps saying it. She wants the easy life. You know what I mean? Anything worth having is going to take work. Anything worth cultivating in your life is going to take work, and there's stages and phases to that work. It's not, you snap your fingers and your kids are 18. No, they go through life and stages that you have to go through with them. Reality is her reality hit her, and now she finally understands with a child she can't be selfish living her own life. Yeah, that I mean, these are not the things that women think about when they open their legs and do the do. You know, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see y'all. Um, let me see. I want to drop the link. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something, Leah?
I mean, she like, how do you even just have that in your mind? Like, was she don't want to teach her daughter how to grow up and be a productive woman and teach her how to cook and teach her
She
how
don't
to
want to
be
be that. She don't want to be that. You
yeah.
can't teach what you what you don't have. And what
She
you're not
she
looking
just want to sit up all day and be on TikTok. You
Yep,
doing
and
story time on
boyfriend.
TikTok.
And who knows if the boyfriend is even, the father, right? She say that, and that's another thing while we're there, while we're here, right? A lot of times women want to give up their children, and we always talk about the deadbeat fathers and the fathers that aren't there and things of that nature. But there are cases where women make these decisions on their own, and the father has no idea what's going on, and is not even given an option in these situations. So we can't always say, oh, well, the father's a deadbeat father, the father's a deadbeat father. No, a lot of times the father don't even know what's happening in the situation. The father could, come to visit the daughter the day after pickup and be like, where's our daughter? Oh, I gave her up for adoption. That is a decision that 90% of the time, primarily the mother makes, because the mother birthed the baby and does not give the father even an option, even in situations where it's not foster care, it's not adoption, and mothers alienate their children from the father
Hmm.
because they think that they could do a better job. They think that the kids don't even need to be bothered with their father. It's just it's weird, you know inhumane thinking, because it's like it took more than you to get the child here, and so not to give the father and the rights, his rights that he has, and his say that he has in these situations, to me is not right. um Again, if it's an emergency situation where the child is in danger, or the mother is harming herself and things of that nature, where they have to literally snatch the child out of the situation. But a lot of the times fathers are just not given that option to keep their children. Like my biological father, when I met him, he was like, I didn't even know you existed, and if I did, I wouldn't have had you go in the system. To hear those words, it was like, dang, like you didn't even know you had a baby with my mother. Like, you know what I mean? He lived in the South, she lived up north. And so it was one of those, she took a trip, she came back, and she had me. And it's like, why wasn't he given an option? Why wouldn't you contact him to let him know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a lot of people cases, especially either whether you're adopted or not. The mother, she might have had a one night stand. She know who the person is, but she don't. She's ashamed a lot of times of who that person is because they're not who she wants them to be. He's probably not doing nothing, and she slipped up, and next thing you know, 9 months later, boop, here comes a baby.
That was I what was I watching the other day? I don't know what it was. I just saw a glimpse of it, but it was the Maury show. Remember on the Maury show when it was like, you are not the father, and guys will be on there doing backflips and running, and then the mom will go running throughout the whole studio. And it's
Hmm.
like, girl, a lot of shows are based off of that. Divorce court, you'll see it in paternity court, like, where mothers, like you said, pin the baby on one guy because they didn't want the other guy to be the baby. And it's like, girl, you lay down and open your legs for that bum. And now you mad he a bum? Like, But then you want to pin the child on a guy who don't even know that he's
Right.
being played. You know what I'm saying? Because he been with you because you've been messing with two people at once. One being a bum and one you probably got some type of stability with. It's not fair to the children. Okay, it's not fair to the children. 80s and 90s babies know about watching Maury after school. Yes, yes, and that was pretty much the whole basis of that show. You had some other, he's messing with my cousin and things like that, but the majority of the shows on the Maury show was, he's not the father or he's the father, and most times, 90% of the times, the guys were not the father.
Hmm.
So, these are the decisions that women make to protect themselves and not their child. And that's what is happening here. This woman is putting her needs before her child's needs. And the child is who's going to really suffer. Because if you never wanted to, be a mother in the first place, like you said, I'm with you. Why have the child? Why
She
have
probably see her friends, traveling and doing all this fun stuff, and she got to be responsible and pick her kid up, take her to school, cook lunch, dinner, do all that stuff that you have to do. And she's like, I'm getting tired of this. I want to do something else.
Yeah, a lot of people can say what they want about, deleting babies, but the alternative is having a child growing up not knowing their identity, going through trauma that they didn't ask for, having a mother that has no emotional bandwidth to even deal with their existence, right?
Mhm.
And then putting them in a situation where they're existing amongst strangers at the age of 7 and growing up not knowing who they are and not knowing their conception story and things of that nature, or having the memories of all of that and then being taken out of that environment and put somewhere totally different with no family, with no blood, with no one that resembles them in any type of way. you know why have the baby? Why, if you don't want to go through it, why you want to put somebody else's family through it? Now mind you, I know people want kids. I know because you know but even those people, sometimes I got a side eye, because it's like, did you do your research? Do you research adoption trauma? Do you just want a kid because you can't biologically have one? I don't always think that adopting children because you can't biologically have them is the best reason to adopt children either. I personally don't think that. Not until you have told me, that you have done some research behind what happens to children who are adopted psychologically, mentally, physically, emotionally. Are you ready to go through that trauma with the child? Because people who can't have kids and then they adopt kids, it's like, oh, my dreams have come true. And then that child gives you they just the seed of Chucky. Okay.
Did you
And
see
you're
that?
like,
It's a
oh
movie.
my God,
It's a
what did I
movie on
do?
it's a movie on Tubi. It's called Adopted. You need to go watch it.
Think I may. Is there a second part to it with the little
Yes.
boy? With the little boy?
Yes.
Oh, I seen it. I be watching the adoption movies. I seen it. And that's another thing with adoption. They portray the kids as the worst kids in the world. And it's like, is that how you try and train these people? Is that how you try and train people? No, no. Okay,
But that's the good and the
around
bad.
some adoptees. Why the adoptees gotta be the bad children? No, the adoptees are put in circumstances that a lot of people probably wouldn't even be able to handle. We are put in situations where we have to really, have this spatial awareness about us, where other kids can be free and safe and not have to worry about stuff like that. But adoptees have to be put in a situation where you really always got your head on a swivel. What's going on around me? Who are you?
I told
And
you
who
it's
are
like the
you?
Twilight Zone.
Yes, it really is the Twilight Zone. So, before they paint adoptees in these movies out to be these bad, human beings. It's the trauma that, we go through. Now, the way that they paint it out in the movies is that, they just got this evil plan just cooking up for the new family, or for the mama's husband, or you know what I mean? Like that's what it's like. We just scheming. We stay scheming. Like we just stay scheming. Right. And it's like, no, we want to know our surroundings, and we want to feel comfortable, and we want to feel safe, and when we don't feel that way, then yes, negative traits come out of us, because we are trying to fit in. We're trying to adapt. And when it's hard for us to do that, a lot of adoptees act out. A lot of adoptees have emotional issues that most adoptive parents have not done their research to be able to actually handle or go through with the adopted child. So now it's like it becomes a us against them, when it was like, no, you adopted me. I thought it was we. I thought we was speaking French. And now I'm having some emotional issues, and it's like, no, you, something's wrong with you. So we got to consider that. I did drop the link for anyone who wants to join the live, ask a question, call in, whatever you like to do. Hit the link at the top of the chat. All right, so she did give an update. We're going to go through the update and then get into the last video of a woman who saw the video. And then there's a plot twist. I told you about a plot twist, so we want to get to that.
Uh-oh.
On getting rid of my 7-year-old daughter and adopting her out. At the end of the video, I'll show you the picture that her adoptee...
StreamYard, come on.
Update on getting rid of my 7-year-old daughter and adopting her out. At the end of the video, I'll show you the picture that her adoptee gave me. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this has been probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. It has been so peaceful not doing student drop-off anymore, not doing homework, not having to do bath routines. I'm on my way right now. I just got here. I'm gonna go pick up the RV that me and my man bought, and we already planned our first trip. I think we're gonna go to Colorado first, and then eventually get over to Washington, D.C. I don't know. I've never been more happy in my entire life. Like, I haven't been more miserable than I was when I first found out I was pregnant, and I just kept her because I thought that that's what I needed to do. But, it wasn't. I should have just not listened to everybody and not listened to, like, the mean stuff people say about aborting kids and stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. The RV's paid for, the trips are planned. Like I said, I'm going to post a picture of her at the end and show you guys how she's been doing, but she seems to be fine. They asked if I wanted to call her or anything this week, and I said no. I figured it's easier to adjust to a new home without talking to me, but she was kind of like okay with it. We had been warming her up to the idea that she's not going to be with mommy anymore, so it's not like it was something new or weird to her, and yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Black Couch. All right. They said I got a few choice names. Okay.
He's saying she's dropping them off like garbage. Like, what are you talking about here? This is a whole person.
A whole child. A whole child. A whole child. A whole child. Okay, that's what she said.
Unfortunately, I will not be able to because I do not want to.
That's her attitude. I won't be able to because I do not want to. Just come out and say that, I mean, she is saying that in but so many words. Honestly, that is what she's saying.
Like, she's really saying that without saying it.
She is. Like, I just don't want to do it no more. I should have listened, but I didn't. And now we're here. And now she's going. She's gone. Now, remember, she said that she was going to show a picture of the little girl at the end, right? Mm-hmm. She never did that. So I'm like, it's another red flag for me. You talked about adoptees picking the child up. You talked about showing a picture of her, but you didn't show a picture of her. We're going to get into the reaction video of this woman and how she feels about her giving the child up. But in this video, in this update video, again, like somebody said, no life, no soul. Like there is nothing there, right? There's nothing there. She kind of actually reminds me of somebody I used to work with.
Oh Lord.
No, she looks like her. She looks like her. I was like, oh. And she was kind of somebody who was like moving from place to place, and she had a child too. But she looks like her, but it's not her. It's not her. It's not her. I promise. She got married and she's living in Arizona now. But this update video is not an update, girl. It's not an update. It's a continuation of you pretty much saying that this is the best thing that you've done in your life. You and your boyfriend now have a trip planned. You have the RV, like you're just ready to go, locked and loaded. The last thing that needed to happen was your child to get picked up by the adoptees, right? So her with this update video to me is just more of another video, because if somebody don't see the first video, this is how social media works. If somebody don't see the first video, they see this second video and they're gonna be like, what is she talking about? And they're gonna go to the first video and they're gonna piece everything together, right? This is a reaction from a lady online about how she felt about her giving up her daughter. Let me just make sure I removed everything else from the stage, because I think StreamYard is acting weird. Thank y'all so much for being here. I see y'all active in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Someone's watching on Facebook. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The mother that gave her 7-year-old up for adoption, I agree with her. If you haven't heard the stories, she have a 7-year-old daughter. She's dropping off to the school for the last time. She's planning on selling her house, buying an RV, run off to the sunset, okay? Now, some of y'all may be wondering, like, why would I agree with her? Let me explain something. The trauma that 7-year-old gonna have at 7, hopefully whoever adopts her is going to put her in counseling. But I'm on this app enough to see. We just had a case here in Florida, I believe it was Florida, where this lady pop out 4 of her kids. There was a case where another lady jumped in the pool with 3 of her kids. Like, if you on this app, you see enough mothers unaliving their kids. I'd rather have a case of a 7-year-old getting counseling and hopefully able to understand later on, versus a mother on here trying to unalive her kids. Or later on when they reach certain age, teenagers, they're on this app cursing each other out. She knows she's not a good mother. She knows she don't want this daughter. Let her give her up, and hopefully someone else can adopt her. So even though it sounds bad, and it is bad, that was still the best thing to do.
And this is what I said when I saw it. Healing-ism. Only saying hopefully, no guarantee. That's the thing. People hope for adoptees' deliverance and their well-being, and for their minds to be right in the future. Right? It's like hopefully they'll be good. Hopefully they'll be okay. Hopefully, they'll have loving parents that will take care of them. Hopefully. Right? And it's like, you don't know where this child is going to end up. Nobody knows where this child is going to end up. The good intentions are there for the child. They're there for the child. I mean, for most people, not necessarily from the mom. I mean, even the mom does want the child to, be in an environment that she can't provide. And most mothers do. Some of them just have a little bit more emotion behind their eyes when they're expressing it, right? But it's hopefully this child will turn out okay. And it's just like, our futures are a lottery. Our futures are, hopefully. And for the most part, most adoptees, I want to say, do turn out okay. However, there will always be another mountain. Okay, there will always be something you got to get over and get through as an adoptee. All right, it's not something that will never happen. It's a guarantee that it will happen. It's a guarantee that you will have emotions and thoughts that your adoptive parents probably have not talked to you about, have not prepared, have not been coached, have not been educated on, and you're stuck on an island by yourself trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally Twilight Zone. Like, you have to figure out who you are as a person as you tend to grow. That's like everyone, it's not just, not just being adopted,
Right.
is when you grow up, you have to figure out like what your personality is, what kind of person you're going to be, and what your interests lie in, and what you like and what you don't like. And you have to have people around you that are going to provoke that positive mindset into your mind. You know, you can't be around people who always talking negative, telling you what you can't do or you ain't gonna do nothing because your parents want nothing and they gave you up, So like you don't need that kind of atmosphere in your mind. So and if they don't have that kind of people around them, guess what? They're gonna have to figure it out. You either sink or swim. It's like, um, and you have to find something that's gonna align with like your personality too.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, like don't go into a field where you don't align. Like there's a lot of people they do customer service. They don't belong there.
No.
Like they got bad attitudes. They huffing and puffing on the phone when you call them or when you go to a restaurant. Like that's not the field for you. Guess what? You need to find somewhere else to work.
Yep. Um, I, I just, with this video, it's almost like, the lady is saying, "Oh, well, that was the right thing for her to do." I mean, what else could she do? Keep the child and neglect her or abuse her emotionally because she doesn't want to be a mother? Because adoption is an option, the state is going to take the child. The state is going to take the child, and like everyone is saying, hopefully they put her with a family that loves her. Hopefully they put her with parents who are gentle towards her new loss, because we always talk about how in order for adoption to take place, there has to be a loss of a family, right?
Hmm.
While her mother is not taking it as a hurtful loss, her daughter will take it that way. Her daughter will take it that way. Her daughter will, wonder why. She'll have the questions. She'll want to know about her family. It is, and people talk about when babies are adopted and how they'll never know they're adopted. Yes, they will. It's that thing called the primal wound. Okay, if you take a baby away from their mother, the baby is going to be mad. The baby is going to be agitated. The baby will cry. The baby, knows. A baby that was connected to a woman for 9 months and all of their um uh cells and
Hmm.
blood and all of that is being formulated for 9 months. You think taking a baby away and saying, "Oh, they'll forget," you know they the body keeps score. That's what Gabor Mate says. The body, I think he has a book called The Body Keeps Score. And that is talking about the trauma and how your body doesn't forget that. I remember when we were younger, our mom used to leave us at home. Our biological mom used to leave us at home, and we would cry and cry. Me and my brother would cry and cry and cry until we had like these hernias, navel hernias, and we had to get it, surgically removed. That is the body keeping score. As babies, all we could do was cry in our bodies. It literally formed a hernia, your body does keep score. Your body lets you know. And then you become an adult and you have situations that happen and it brings you right back to those moments. It brings you right back to those thoughts. And that's why therapy and coaching and mentoring and things like that in this space is so important because if the body is going to keep score, your body can physically become hurt or stressed
Hmm.
or have you in the hospital. If you don't know how to relieve those things naturally, then you'll be bound by them. And so things like this, to me, again, it's like the reason why I don't like this is because it gives everyone that easy button out, like that easy route out, and more and more people will start to do this. Not only will they start to do this, they will make videos for views. So I did my research and I went on TikTok and I'm trying to figure out, where this is happening. Where is it taking place? Does anybody know her? I want somebody to be like, oh yeah, I know her. And she talked about this and I can't believe she's actually doing it. Like, I just wanted to find some reality in what I was seeing and in the comments and trying to, just search for some facts. And as I was going through the comments, I learned that none of this happened to this woman. She does not have a 7-year-old that she gave up for adoption. She actually is a content creator, a TikToker. And what she does is she reads Reddit stories and pretty much reenacts them. Like she will act it out. It says on her channel, reshare stories about others. These are not my stories. Message me if you want your story told. The thing about social media is a lot of people are not going to do their research. They are going to take what they see and what they hear as Bible. They will want to get involved in this woman's life. Give me your child. I'm available. I have room. I can adopt her. We can make it an open adoption. And now this woman is inviting all of this energy towards her because she wants to read Reddit stories online. Mind you, anybody can go to her TikTok page and see and read that she has that on her page. But will people do that? Is the
Mm-mm.
question. Will people do that? They
So
won't do that.
you got me getting more gray hair over here, and then this lady telling stories from people, and them
But
people probably, half them people probably writing them stories through Chat GPT and Copilot just to get clicked.
exactly. But it's becoming a trend. It's
Hmm.
becoming a trend. And so in order to be able to, figure out if the truth is the truth, because you just scrolling, people, that's what we do. We scroll. We in line, we scroll. We at we somewhere trying to pass time, we scroll. We on the toilet, we scroll. Like, that's what we do. We scroll, and nobody, and you're scrolling from post to post to post to post. But because we're attached to this community, I have to do my due diligence and not just review this as something that happens in the community. Because are children given up for adoption every day, B? Yes, they are. Okay? They are. However, in a social media driven world, a TikToker like herself can put these videos out, and a mother who is truly struggling, a mother who is down to her wits end, who doesn't have a village, a mother who has no one to turn to, will say, you know what? I'll just put my child up for adoption. I'll just go to the, social services building and call Child Protective Services or whatever and let them know that I'm overwhelmed and I just can't do it. Now, I would think that social services would give this struggling mother a opportunity to utilize resources that are available to them. I would hope, and I would hope. There we go, that hope word, right? Hope. It always reminds me of the preacher's wife when they was in church and he was like, hope, hope, love. I would hope that is available to them, but we know that the state don't mind taking children and giving them to the next available open home. And then the child has to start the cycle all over again, because adoption, I'm starting to see, is not always the end all be all for children. Some people are adopted and they're put back in the system after being adopted. Like, that's a whole nother piece of trauma. It's like, all right, you already adopted once and gotta, adjust. But to be adopted and then to have your adoptive parents put you back in the system is just a whole nother level of rejection, abandonment, and that whole bit. But in this situation, to not give that background before you give this story makes you the poster child of the mothers who just gonna drop their child off and give their child to their adoptees. Again, there were a couple of things that made me think before I even did my research, like, adoptees, that's not right. The adoptive parents, yes, we never saw a picture of the child. She was just so heartless and she just had no emotion behind. She had no emotion behind it because it was a lie. Okay. It was a lie. She couldn't emotionally connect. It had nothing to do with her. All right. But those who have been in these situations, we would look at this video and because of what we've been through and because of the process that we had to go through, we would look at these situations and be like, what in the world is wrong with her? What? Go get some help. Go talk to somebody. Go sit on somebody's couch. Get couch for your daughter. I mean, get therapy for your daughter and have her sit on the couch. But it's not the truth. It's a lie.
It's like that little girl that told that lie while she wasn't getting fed.
Right. It's becoming, adoption and foster care is becoming a trend for views. It's not becoming a trend so people are educated on the topic. I always say adoption is such an underserved community because they want to adopt, but nobody want to educate. Nobody want to be an advocate. Nobody want to be a mentor. Nobody wants to be there to talk to adoptive parents and be a resource of ideas to them when their child is, running away or withdrawing or not being able to connect with them, right? They don't want to talk to the adoptees then, but they want to make you an adoptee. They want to make you an adoptee, but they don't want to invite you back into the community so you can be an advocate for the very thing that you were available for.
They try to make it look easy, like it's just, oh, you just adopt and then, nothing else behind that. But there's plenty of work that goes behind that. And even after you raise a kid, you still have work to do. It's never ending.
Right. It's never ending. And it's parenting in general. But when you're parenting somebody that is not biologically made up like you and your family, you're going to have to get a little bit of extra education. You're going to have to get a little bit, and you're going to have to seek after this education because they're not going to give it to you, right? They may give you a little bit to, send you off on your way, give you a little bit. But they're not going to give you the true definition of what it means to go through the thick of it with these kids. No, they're expecting you to figure it out because you signed up for it. You signed up for it, so they're expecting you to do that. They're expecting you to, get the help, the therapy, the right education about these things. And some parents just never do. They go into it like, oh, this I'll be all right. I'll be okay. And again, like I said, don't let them be Christians. Oh, Jesus will make everything all right. Just pray, fast, he'll make everything all right. And that's a lie too. Let me tell you, that's a lie as well, because a 7-year-old don't know nothing about Jesus. All right. A 7-year-old don't know nothing about praying. A 7-year-old needs something tangible. They need nurture. They need someone to understand them. Okay. Many are called, but few are chosen. There are many people who are called to be parents, but few of them choose to get the education that is necessary to actually, emotionally be there for these children. Like it to me, it's sad. And then when you have people who want to use adoption and foster care for views, because they know that children are vulnerable and they can't stick up for themselves, and so people are going to come in droves to support a unsupported child. They know that they can get the views off of that. And it's funny because I went on TikTok and I saw a lot of people trying to benefit off of this trend, but some of them, like the one girl was trying to act like she was crying and I gave my child up for adoption. It wasn't real emotion. You could tell it wasn't real emotion. It was like, you're doing this for the internet. Shame on you. Shame on you trying to use something that you do not know enough about, don't know the depths of trauma that comes from it, and you're trying to gain views from it. So you have to check and verify. Don't just, a lot of these stories I see online, I'd be hesitant to hit the like button. I'd be hesitant to comment, because it's like, I don't know if what I'm seeing before my eyes is true. It's just here.
Yeah, because like when you first started planning, I was like, I don't know if I believe this. Like, you could tell when somebody's being sincere. You could tell when, somebody's really not. And obviously we have that opinion now because we know that it's not real.
Right.
But I will say the little girl who says she wasn't being fed, I actually believed her. Remember we reviewed that little girl?
Yeah, but she had some signs too that she wasn't telling the truth. But she did say some things. I think with her it was a race bait, excuse me. And how she said that she was with white people and they don't like black people and they weren't feeding her. Like her lie was a multi-layered lie. And the multi-layered lie is the worst because
you don't know which one is
child
true.
Formulating a multi-layered lie is lethal. They'll lie about anything. They'll throw anybody in their lie. Yeah. They like, you know what I mean? So I think that's why hers was very believable. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean to do that. I apologize.
No, it's fine. I just say I think her lie was more believable to me, I think, than the lady or the video you just played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like that's why I don't even go on TikTok, because stuff like that is, I mean, you gotta be searching for stuff like that. I assume like that just don't come up in your algorithm. Like, oh look, I'm going to start doing videos about, not getting rid of my kid and I don't even have one, and let's see how much traction I can get. It's really it's really giving a bad perception of how adoption is, or
How it works.
people, how people perceive, because like everybody isn't bad, and they're just in situations and are trying to get to better situations, and they're hopefully if they find a family that will give them that good restart.
Yeah. Adoption just doesn't work this way. Like, adoption don't work this way. You can't just say you tired of parenting and bring your child to CPS. Like, you would have to prove that you're trying to harm yourself. You would have to make them believe that you are not a good fit for the parent, or for the child, their well-being and things of that nature. Um, because adoption is a court ordered process. Now,
Hmm.
foster care, might be a little different story. But again, she said adoption. She said a lot of different things where I was just like, I don't know if this is real or not, because again, you can't just drop your child off in the line and say you're not going back to pick them. No, girl, you got to go to court. You got to go to the courthouse. This is not how adoption works. So again, like these trends are making it seem like, boom, drop them off, they're adopted. That is not how this works. Oh, I had a conversation with her. No, adoption is a process that takes sometimes a full year to come to fruition. Like, it's not just, I'm just going to drop them off. That's abandonment. That's not adoption. Wrong A, girlfriend. That's abandonment. Okay. Adoption is a process, a court order, legal document, signage, all of that, a judge, all of that. It is not just, I'm just going to drop them off because I don't feel like doing it. I'm tired of the pickups. I'm tired of feeding. I'm tired. Like, no, that's not how adoption works.
And now
So
that you mention it, she said that they came and pick him up the next day. I'm like, what?
She didn't
Uh,
say, we spoke to the family, and I believe the family is a great family. They're giving me great vibes. No, she said she spoke to the child about it, and she knew she wouldn't be with mommy anymore. So
what?
again, whoever is writing these, who's ever trying to make the public view your content because it plays at the heartstrings of individuals, at least don't do it. Just don't do it, because you sound ignorant, because you are ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. And people who are not educated in the adoption topic and the adoption realm of family, will believe you. They will believe you. Point blank, period. They'll believe you. They'll try and get in your business. They'll want to know where this child is at. They'll want to know, where, what an update. Like, she gave that fake update. Oh, update. I'll show you a picture of how she's doing. Her new family sent me a picture. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You wanted people to watch to the end. You wanted people to view the entire video so you can get them views up.
Yeah.
So you can get the coins.
Hmm.
But you can't fool the people who've actually been through it. And the first video showed up on Instagram, and then I went over to TikTok. So I don't know if it's because I do a lot of adoption content now and things of that nature that I see a lot of it. On my Adoptee foster Instagram, I follow a lot of parenting influencers, a lot of coaches, a lot of therapists over there. And I believe it popped up on that channel. I don't think it popped up on my Real Precious official Instagram page. But because, it's in my algorithm, it popped up. Right. And I'm like, no, it got to be more to this. Like, I'm not somebody that takes something at face value. Like, you can't just put something in front of me and I'd be like, oh, for real? I'm gonna be like, I gotta do my research. I don't know about that one. And those were the feelings that I got when I first watched her video. I'm like, I need to see where else it is. I want to read every last comment. I want to know, because adoption is our community, and we should be, we should be up to date with what's going on. We should care about what's going on. No, we're not going to be able to save everyone, or reverse the situations for these children, but we do have a due diligence to educate and to mentor or give knowledge and advocate for those who are actually going through this experience, those who are like, I was adopted when I was 8, so I wasn't too far from the age that this girl was just put up for adoption. But again, it was a process. Now, as a child, did I know what was going on? Did I know that I was in the middle of this process? No. But there were things that happened that I can look back now and be like, oh, I was in the adoption process. Like, I thought I was just doing the activities for the day, but I was actually in a process. Like, things were, happening that progressed, and the conclusion was me leaving where I was. So yeah, we have to do our due diligence and knowing when someone is actually a part of the community, and knowing when someone is using the community for their own selfish needs and wants, such as being lazy and wanting trying to get rich off of TikTok, and things like that. I don't. The whole story doesn't even relate to her. I don't think she has a boyfriend. She doesn't have RV. She does, like, this is a whole story that she made up off of TikTok. We don't know nothing about this girl, but that she white and she coming on to social media reading this Reddit story. We don't know anything about her.
And who knows if the Reddit story is true? Like, Reddit's a whole nother black hole.
I don't go on Reddit much. But I know it is a platform where people go and ask questions, share stories.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's get to some of these comments. Good night. Real black lexicon. Good evening, love. Good to see you here. Blood gives you default presence, even by proxy. Yes. I remember when I met my biological father for the first time. I remember being around my biological sister. Just the mannerisms. I remember me and my sister, like, we would look at our watch at the same time. We would just do things at the same time, and we're like, oh my gosh. And it's just like this, it's almost telepathic a little bit, like just on a very incy-vincy scale, like what I'm thinking, you're thinking, type of thing. And you just don't get that with your adoptive family. Like, you don't get those certain moments where words don't have to be spoken, and you can just vibe on a level, like, on a level where, like, you just don't have to talk. Chelsea says, did y'all ever know the Carolee story, later known as Sabrina Catwell, a Russian child adopted by American parents in 1997? No. That was the year I was adopted. No, I never heard that story. Good evening, Mr. Chocolate. Thank you so much for being here.
I've never heard that story.
No, I never heard that story either. Mandrell, good to see you, love. Mentally says, the thing I don't like about parents who give up their child for adoption is that after giving up the child for adoption, they want to be in their lives if they make something of themselves as an adult. Well, so I think that when parents give their children up for adoption, like, I was in a closed adoption. Leon, you were in a closed adoption too, right?
Yes.
So closed adoption is when you don't have any connection, any communication with your biological parents once you get adopted. And in some cases, it is best, just because you might be coming from an environment that's not safe for you. And so communication with the biological parents can disrupt the bonding between the adoptive parents and the children. I don't. I just have such a love-hate relationship with closed adoptions because closed mean closed. Like I know in my state, adoption records were sealed for a very long time. I think it's only been maybe 2 or 3 years since they have unsealed people's adoption records. So in a closed adoption, you don't have any communication with your biological family, nor do you have any record of your biological family until you're an adult and you want to go get that information yourself. Um, and yes, parents trying to be involved in the child's life once they made something for themselves is a thing, but I think that there are a lot of parents who give their children up for adoption and they live with that forever. And as unlike this woman that we saw and how she delivered the story of giving up a child at 7, there are some parents who really struggle with it. Some of them go to their graves struggling with that battle of, relinquishing their rights to their children, because for a woman, when you have a child, like that's not just something you can forget. It's your child's DNA lives inside of you. But yeah, trying to get that recognition after they become an adult is a little bit of a, but where were you? The Real Black Lexicon says spiritual adoption works the same. That is why Jesus said to his disciples to leave their mother and father and follow him. Yes, we were all, adopted under God. He is the author of adoption. But and if people want to go by that, then read his word and learn how to love, because it's in there. Aren't you mixing two different things than adoptee foster? That's the name, the adoptee foster, because I was adopted and in foster care, so I have a perspective from both. If that's what you're referring to. Chelsea says, I stay off Reddit. Yeah, I'm not really on, I don't really go to Reddit. Sad people do that when people like me and you are really adopted. Yes. Leon's also adopted. Jordan, I know it's been a while. You probably haven't. Well, we just came back about a week ago. We just came back. But Leon has been going live with me on Instagram until we came back to YouTube. So yeah, we're all in this community together. Tehilinism says Reddit be having deep answers. Do they be real answers? Is it just like kind of like Google? Anybody could go in there and put anything on there. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell. Share the live screen. I appreciate you. I was adopted through my mom's adoption agency. She made sure we kept contact with our biological parents that want to keep contact. Yeah, I think, I can understand if it's unsafe, but I think there still needs to be some type of contact, even if it's contractual, like you agree to something, maybe get it notarized that you have to stay within those boundaries, but maybe a letter, pictures, something, because I don't know. I feel like adopting kids and putting them in a stranger's home is taking them into a foreign land, because it's completely unknown to them. Look into the story, it's crazy, but they accused her of trying to unalive her 3-year-old brother, sent her back to Russia in a psychiatric situation. She later got adopted and said the family lied. Oh, we're gonna have to look that one up. Is this streaming anywhere? This is a real story? Like where can we find it?
What was this lady name again? I'm gonna put it in my notes. I'm gonna have to look this up.
Carolee. Her name, it was a Carolee story, but she was later known as Sabrina Caldwell, Caldwell. I guess that's when she got adopted. She went by that name. I don't know.
I have to look that up.
Yeah.
That's some research I gotta do.
It's understandable, Precious. Thanks for the clarification. No problem.
I'm sure good
I
old
should cover
Tubi's
that
got
story
something.
though and talk about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts next time. Yeah. Can you send me uh the name?
Let me see if I can look it up.
Yes, we are. We back. We back. We back. We back. Yes, we
Oh yeah,
are. Let me see here.
I'm gonna put it
You
in the back chat.
okay. You mentioned how specific and strict the adoption process is. I assumed foster care is a little easier. That's what I meant by mixing. Yeah, so yes, the foster care process is easier. Foster care is pretty much whoever has whoever is available and can take children in. Foster care is supposed to be a temporary situation, a temporary placement. Some kids do get adopted from foster care. I actually have some siblings that got adopted from their foster care home. Um, but they got adopted when they were like a lot younger. Me and my brother, I'm the oldest of seven. And so, we stayed with our biological mom for a few years and then were taken out. Whereas my other siblings were born in a hospital and were placed into foster care homes or pretty much straight out of the hospital. And then they got adopted from those foster care homes. Now, foster to adopt, I think, would be the most um I would say fostering a child and then later on adopting them to me seems a little bit more less abrasive on the child because myself I went through about 4 or 5 foster homes before I was adopted. And my parents who adopted me, I was not in their care for foster care. So I literally, they were literally strangers to me. And so it was harder to transition being that I was 8 turning 9, moving my elementary schools, literally moving from one part of Jersey to the other part of Jersey. It was difficult for me, but the foster care process is a lot less abrasive than the adoption process. I agree. I still talk to my biological mom today and go see her. Good for you. Good for you. A lot of people do not have that that story. A lot of people can't even put eyes on their biological mom, or their biological mom may not want to have anything to do with them. So it's good. But I thought I remember you saying that you kept in contact with her when you were adopted. So again, that helps because now you can still maintain that connection without by still while still being adopted, but still maintaining the connection to your biological mom. Like I still feel like there should be some type of connection between the parents or, close relatives, something. I remember my dad used to go to courts for the agency. He had his own business, but part-time worked with my mom's adoption agency. We used to go with him as witness to get papers signed. So your parents owned an adoption agency? Your mom had an adoption agency.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, my sister's birthday is actually today.
I'm sorry.
My sister's birthday is actually today.
Happy birthday, girl.
Yeah, I reached out to her on Instagram.
Nice.
Wished her happy birthday. We were both born on holidays.
Oh, today is St. Patrick's Day. When's your birthday?
July 4th.
Oh my gosh. St. Patrick's Day and July 4th. Oh my goodness. I was just listening to the radio and they were saying how July 4th, I think, is St. Patrick's Day is one of the top days that people drink, and July 4th is in there, Christmas is in there, and there was a New Year and New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, at least it's not hard to forget y'all birthdays. Were you ever encouraged to be defiant by peers during your foster years? No. During my foster years, I don't know. I if if you're new to my story, I always say that adoption traumatized me because during my foster years, I was fine. I was living the life of a child. I lived in North Jersey, so everybody was outside. My school was right across the street from my home. I would come home, do my homework. I would throw on my rollerblades or get on my bike, go play with my friends. Like I had a great childhood, and then adoption happened. Now, I'm not saying that adoption was a bad thing that happened to me. I'm saying that when it happened, it was traumatic for me. Like that's where my trauma started because I didn't know what I didn't know. And so, being a child and going through that process of being in foster care and then being adopted, I literally live about an hour and 15 minutes away from where I was born and grew up at. And so even that drive, like I talked about it last live, the drive from North Jersey to South Jersey was just like, where am I going? Like, why is it so far? What is happening? Like you said, it's a twilight zone. Like, where are y'all taking me? And then we had to get used to calling our parents mom and dad. Like, I don't remember what I called my foster parents. But like it was just I went from living this life to living another one. Like it was just weird. It was just an unexplainable experience. Yep, my mom owned an adoption agency in Houston. Wow. So you probably heard about a lot of cases just out of proximity to your mom owning the adoption agency. Happy birthday to your sister, Leon. All the happy birthday love. All the happy birthday love. Oh, happy birthday, mama. Oh wow, I'll remember forever now. See, no one's gonna forget your birthday. They're gonna be like 4th of July fireworks. Leon, happy birthday. My stepmom had a closed adoption, but once she reached a certain age, they gave her a file of her birth parents' info, but she had no interest in knowing them.
Oh, wow.
Well, at least they gave it to her. At least I don't even know what my adoption papers look like. I have no clue what they wrote about me, child. I don't know. I have no clue.
I mean, you can actually order them. I was actually talking to a lady a couple of weeks ago in Michigan about ordering my paperwork, just to see. I'm always curious to know like what actually happened. Um, I think in Michigan they charge you like I think like $65 to get them sent to you.
Um, you're right. You're absolutely right. I did that. And all it said was I paid this money for them to send me documents that had a seal on it that pretty much says so and so are your parents through adoption legally in New Jersey. It said nothing about me. It said nothing. I
Not
mean,
the good stuff.
it gave right. It was legal jargon, right? It was
Mhm.
court jargon. It wasn't, what I want to see what my paperwork looks like going from foster care into adoption. Like what were the social workers saying about me at that time? Like I
Mhm.
remember having a great life. Like I remember having fun. I don't that's just how I remember life then. But someone from the outside looking in, going through this process with unbeknownst to me, going through the process, how are they evaluating me? Again, I always said I want to know the why with my parents. Like, why exactly did you adopt me and my brother? Other than the fact that you couldn't biologically have children, right?
Mhm.
Because I don't think you wake up one day and say, well, I can't have them biologically, let's go adopt. There has to be, especially for men, Like, men are just not going to adopt kids. They barely want to have their own damn kids. I'm just being honest. Okay. Like, they barely want to, keep up with their own. So it's I always want to know the why behind it, because did the paperwork say we were great kids? Did the paperwork say, like, what were our struggles at that time? Like, I don't remember having struggles, but if it was documented in the paperwork, like, what did it say? Though that's the paperwork that, like I told you about my sister, how she sent me her paperwork through text messaging, and it was like, oh well, when such and such comes in the room, she withdraws and she's to herself, like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I want to read up on, but I guess I'll never know. Let me see. Yeah. Are adoptees entitled to the same inheritance benefits as a natural child? Yes. Now, that was in the paperwork. Okay, that was in the paperwork. I think that was like one of the last. That was like in the last paragraph in the paperwork, about how adopting this child gives them the right to inheritance of your family as if you birthed them. It was pretty much verbiage to that nature. Precious, understanding adopting to a new home and environment can be quite traumatizing. It is, especially when you're not, when you don't, and when you don't incorporate any type of trauma therapy. Like, again, we were older, so I could see if we were babies. Again, it still sticks with a child, even though they may be a baby adopted. They can adjust a little bit better. Like, I had already had a life that I was living, and then I have to now live a new one. Yeah, so many people you meet in wild stories, some bad, some good. Yes, adoption and foster care is not a monolith. We all go through similar experiences, but different in our own stories. And my brothers and sisters were all different race, but mostly Black. Okay. Now, your brothers and sisters, you were adopted. Are they your biological siblings, or were they adopted as well? I know your mom owned the adoption agency, so did she have any biological kids? Now I want to know it all, Jordan. You see how we get nosy. I understand the fascination with wanting to know the evaluation. I have a keepsake box of my teacher's remarks, and I'm fascinated by that. Yes, I used to have a teacher, third grade, Miss Hart. Whenever you got done your work or whatever, she used to have like this. You know what? This is probably why I like original M&Ms the way I do. She used to have,
Oh,
I just had a That's So Raven moment. Like, she used to have this like candy container. You know, the candy containers you could put like a little penny in or whatever. And whenever you done your work or whatever, you could go up to her desk and put a penny in there and get some M&Ms out of there. That's probably why I like plain M&Ms the way I do. I love me some plain M&Ms. It's probably because of Miss Hart. But yes, I think I still have, well, not from North Jersey. I don't have any of my teachers' remarks from them, but I still have every report card dating back to fourth grade. Like, I could pull them out right now. I still have all of that. Documents with my biological last name on them. When it changed over to my adopted last name. Yes, I definitely have all of that. Oops. All of them adopted. Only 3 they biological, and yup, Precious. All of them adopted. Only 3 they biological. Help me out here. All of them are adopted. Who's biological? I don't. All of them are all of your siblings adopted, or are they biological? I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting messed up on this comment here. Maybe y'all can help me out. Precious, did you have a memory box? No, we didn't have a memory box, but we did have this thing called a life book. This is what my life book looks like. I don't know if you guys can see it. Hold on.
It's
I
because you
don't
got the filter on.
know how this works, but this was my book. And it says Michelle's book in there. You can't really see it because of the filter. But it says Michelle's book, and Michelle is my first name. Precious is my middle name.
Now
But it tells you
everybody
about my
knows my
birth
name is
mother,
Leon.
huh?
And now everyone knows my name is Leon.
Yes. My birth mother, my birth father, my siblings. It has a story about my mom. Crazy thing. It has like my mom's rundown in here, right? And so my mother passed away in 2016, and we did her obituary. Burying my biological mother was one of the most outer body experiences I've had to date. But getting her death certificate, in my book it says that my mother's birthday is May 9th, and getting her birth certificate or her death certificate, it says that her birthday is March 9th. And I'm like, so which one is it?
Right.
And I'm thinking, like, did they put the wrong date in the book to throw us off? Because I just feel like sometimes with adoption agencies, remember, these are just humans who have jobs. Like, these people's hearts don't necessarily have to be in what they're doing when you're working for an adoption agency. First of all, you're overworked. We had Chantel on our channel when I used to do the Adoptee Foster show with his name is leaving me right now, but I used to do another show about adoption with someone, and Chantel came on because she used to work in an adoption agency, and she used to say how they were overworked. They would have so many cases. They would, be picking kids up at 1, 2 in the morning and bringing them back to the adoption agency office, or they would call the first available family. Like, she really gave some insight into how it works. But I feel like they do certain things to kind of like throw you off. And I feel like that was one of the things. Like, March 9th, just recently passed, and me and my siblings are like, should we say happily heavenly birthday to mommy, or should we wait to May 9th? And I'm like, child, I don't know, just say it. Like, doesn't matter at this point. Like, doesn't matter at this point. But those are just the little things, like just trying to piece together your life. These are things that adoptees have to go through, and sometimes you really don't have the support of those who adopted you, because they won't tell you, but I am. It's a little bit of I'm just being real, right? It's kind of like this unspoken internal little bit of a competition, that adoptive parents feel with biological parents. And it's like, there should be no competition. Honestly, you should all be playing for the same team. The same team is the child. Like, no, you couldn't handle these responsibilities, but I'm here to pick them up, and I'm going to look after your baby. I'm going to take care of your baby, and we're going to share this baby. We're going to make sure that he or she grows up to have everything that he or she needs. Instead, some adoptive parents take that ownership a little bit too seriously. They take it a little bit too, and it's like, hold on now, don't forget where you come from. Where you come from is that somebody else had to relinquish their rights in order for you to be a parent. Like, humble you. Sometimes you have to humble yourself into that way of thinking. And not only humble yourself into that way of thinking, but get on the level of loss that your child had to undergo in order to be in your guardianship, under your legal adoption guardianship. You know what I mean? Like, that's something else that goes on in the adoption community, where adoptive parents feel certain type of ways about biological families. And it's like, I thought this was about the kids. Like, like why are there ill will feelings towards a family that no longer gets to see this child grow up, that no longer gets to, experience this child, and you're taking those responsibilities over? How dare you feel some certain type of way about their biological family? I don't care how you feel about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, leave your feelings at the door and worry about what's best for the child. I think sometimes like that education just needs to be out there, and somebody just needs to say it, because it's not heard. And adoptive parents get this demeanor about them, like, oh, they're mine now. They're
Like you're a piece of property.
and it's like, with that type of attitude, parenting is not going to go well, because you're not going to be open to the collaboration of people that you could be collaborating with for this child's well-being. So certain things you just gotta take into consideration. Yep, I think they should allow the child to keep contact with their biological parents and not be competitive. And even if it's not with the biological parents, because in my case, my mom was a drug addict, right? And so, was communication really going to be, a thing there? Not necessarily, but she had my mom had sisters. We stayed with our great aunt until she passed away. So she had family that we actually would have the social work. This is how I found my biological family. I have a picture in this book of only one family member. The social worker took me to McDonald's to meet her one day. Social worker took a picture. They put the picture in this book. I go on to Facebook, and somebody was like, well, why don't you make a Facebook name with your biological last name? Like, maybe, you'll find your family that way. Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I got a message from the woman who is pictured in this book, and was like, I've been searching for you for years, you and your brother. So if social media is going to do one thing, it should reunite family with family, because it did it for me, and it has done it for plenty of other people who have found their families, long lost friends, long lost high school buddies. Like, I think that, when social media first came out, that is what was going on the platforms. Like, okay, I want to keep in contact with such and such and so, and I haven't talked to but
yeah, that was the premise of Facebook initially, was to connect people, no matter like where you lived. And
right. And now social media is isolating people, making people feel like they could just stay at home, up in corridors, or up alone in a room with a chair, child. Like, before, you're right, it was about connecting people. Facebook was literally like a college thing. You had to have a college ID or college email. But yeah, that's how I found my biological family. And from there, I was like, all right, we got to take the trip. We went to go visit my biological mom, my biological grandma. I had to speak at my biological grandmother's funeral. I'm like, yo, Lord, I'm not your strongest soldier. I know that I put up a good front. Like, I know I do. But I had to bury my mother. Then I had to speak at my grandma. I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know this woman. What do y'all want me to say? Why do y'all want me to speak? But sometimes I feel like God puts you in certain situations because he knows you can handle it. Like, you know what I mean? And it could be a prerequisite of something that's going to happen in the future. And I'm not saying that a funeral is a prerequisite for something, but certain platforms, God gives you certain platforms for a reason. And you're either going to accept that challenge or accept that reason or not. But yeah, I had to speak at my another person that we, had to bury. And what's crazy is the person who found me on Facebook, she's no longer living. I went to her funeral as well. It's like God allowed me to meet these people and then took them away from me. But I'm okay because I was adopted and I had family. I'm also the oldest of 7. So again, it's piecing together your life and wondering
Right.
why things happen in the seasons that they happen in, and why, it's just a lot, and it takes a lot of patience and endurance to be able to go through it, because a lot of people just don't have that, and it makes them, it makes them question almost everything. It makes them question
Hmm.
everyone. And I'm just grateful to have gone through the experience and still be in my right mind. Okay.
Yeah, so like when I first found my mother, she she was like, I don't know how I would have found you if you wouldn't have looked for me. Like,
Mm,
that's, maybe she just didn't know where to go, or what the resources she had available. But she would always say, if I wouldn't have found you, I would have passed away from being heartbroken.
really, I'm telling you, it sticks with people. It sticks.
Yeah.
It sticks with the biological parents, because some of them have no other choice. They have no other choice but to relinquish their rights. And it's a sad story, because the state would rather yank children from their biological families than give the families the resources needed to be able to take care of
Hmm.
children. And that's the sad part about adoption, um, is that children are left to figure it out. Parents are left to figure it out. And the adoption agencies and foster care agencies are literally being being state's property, pretty much. And the state gets to make the laws, and the state gets to say, in this year we'll give you a bonus. I know in the year 97, when I got adopted, there was an incentive to adopt children during that year. Look it up. There was an incentive to adopt. If you adopt children, we will give you this.
I believe it, because there's so many kids that need to be adopted, and I believe they're overworked. I mean, it's just like anywhere else. They're trying to get more with less, and people are overworked and underpaid, and those type of jobs. You can never. Those are the people that really need to get paid, because they go through a lot. Like, could you imagine being like a social worker going to somebody's house at 1 in the morning, taking their kids away from them?
No,
Like,
I couldn't.
like, but
Um, I don't think I thought I wanted to be a social worker. I was going for my master's a few years ago to become a social worker. And I thought that that's what I wanted to do, but I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to do that every day. Like, I don't think that I would be able to see the nature of mothers and having to have their children, excuse me, taken away from them because of circumstances that they can't take care of their children financially. Even if they have drug issues, like, I couldn't witness that every day. And I thought that I could. I'm like, oh, I would be a great candidate for this, and da da da. And then I was like, no, I like, I there's sometimes I question God now. Every day I'll be waking up like, God, why? Like,
mm,
why? Like, because it's like, I just, that's why a lot of people in those fields get desensitized to it. It literally is, don't get emotionally attached to this child or to this situation or to this case, because you're going to come in tomorrow and you're going to have the same situations happen. And I think that a lot of them take on that attitude. um I think work like that truly has to be a calling of yours. I think it has to be something that God has truly called you to do and not something to do for a check. Because at the end of the day, you're coming home with residue of other people's trauma. And if you don't have your life right, you know what I mean? If you're not getting enough sleep, if you're not getting enough rest, if you're not, doing things that are going to rejuvenate you and kind of put you back on the right track, then yes, you're liable to lash out on a child. You're liable to be negligent. You're liable to just say what you want to a child and not think that it's not going to affect them in this process that they're going through. And you're liable to lash out on those around you who actually love you. So I couldn't could I mentor children? Yes. Could I do advocate for adoption and foster care? Yes. But I couldn't do it every day, whereas I have 2 kids in my back seat that I'm taking them to a foster care home in a bad neighborhood, and I'm leaving there like, Lord, I hope them kids are going to be okay. Like, you know what I mean? Just knowing, what kids go through, the traumas, even taking them from one home and putting them in another home. I know what I felt like going from one home to another home, being the stranger in a foreign land. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of jobs like that too. Like, a lot of the nursing jobs,
I couldn't do that. Couldn't
being a
work in a
police
hospital.
officer, all those types of jobs. I actually wanted to be a police officer, but like when I found out like all the stuff they go through or what they go through, I was like, nah, that's okay. And
Yeah.
plus, you don't get paid. I was like, no thanks.
You got to think like, yes, it's a paycheck, obviously, but at the end of the day, that's soul work. Like working in a hospital and cleaning up after people and seeing people at their worst and their lowest of their low. To me, that's soul work. Like I don't have the stomach for the hospital part of things. Like I just don't have the stomach. Like I go into a hospital now and I'd be like, oh Lord, I just don't want to crazy. Like keep the curtains closed. I just don't, that those things permeate within your soul. You can't separate the two. If you're doing it, if you're in it, your soul's attached to it. And I just know that I couldn't come home with a heavy soul every day. Like I wouldn't be able to do it. I just know myself. But those who do, bravo, clap. I give you your props. Those who do it just for a check, get out the business. Go work at McDonald's if you just want to check. You know what I'm saying? Like go somewhere where you being there really doesn't have that much of an impact. They could find somebody else to fill the role type of thing.
Right.
But with dealing with children, and if you're going to be in an environment where you are handling children and you have children's futures in your hands and you have their placements and their whereabouts and where they're going to eat next or where they're going to live next, like you have to take that seriously and you got to be right within yourself. Because if not, you can be a horrible influence on this child or these children. So yeah, I'm writing down this Sabrina Caldwell because I don't want to forget it. I do want to look it up and actually read up on her and see exactly what happened with that. All righty. It looks like we are nearing the end of What an Incredible Experience, Precious. I'm glad your spirit is so strong. Yeah, child. Like yeah, like what do we do to deserve? So nah. We're good. We turned out okay, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of bobbing and weaving to really figure out who you are. And that's why I always say be real with yourself so you can be real with others. Because being real with yourself is not something that adoptees are always afforded. You got to be real to the cause, right? It's like, all right, you're adopted into this family now, and you have to adapt and you have to blend in and you have to um be good and fold your clothes and make sure you know do everything you got to do and don't make us look bad because we adopted you. Like, you know what I mean? And at some point adoptees have to get to a point where it's just like you got to be real with yourself, because you're gonna grow up, you're gonna age out of that home, you're gonna live on your own. And one thing that adoption sometimes does is it robs the adoptee of their identity and and it may take years for people to find their identity. They may never come to terms that they were adopted. They may never come to terms that they may never meet their biological parents. And nobody talks about how that weighs on an individual. Nobody talks about what that trauma looks like. My heart always goes out to transracial adoptees, like Black children who are adopted by white families, or white families who go over to China to adopt Chinese children and they legit don't look like nobody in their family, and they have to blend in. And it's like, no, you got to be real with yourself so you can be real with others. Because if I'm not real with myself, there's no way that I could come on here and be real with y'all. There's no way I can come on here and be an advocate. There's no way that I can come on here and try to, give adoptive parents things to research or look into or just take heed to or seek out, if I wasn't real with myself. And a lot of people are not real with themselves, even with the things that are hurting them and the issues or the areas where they need to improve and grow. They'd rather stay ignorant, or they'd rather just stay in this comfortable place. And I was listening to Viola Davis on something, and she was like, in acting, the first thing that they teach us is that we need to be uncomfortable. I mean, ain't none of us actors or actresses, but we had to kiss somebody on and for the world to see on screen, and you married, they married, everybody like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in the adoptee world, because the adoptees are living amongst uncomfort, yet everyone is trying to make them comfortable, and the ways that they are trying to make them comfortable is not the way that they're going to feel comfortable. The way that an adoptee is going to feel comfortable is when you emotionally relate and are inclusive with the child, meaning that their emotions are things that you are speaking about, their fears and their traumas are things that you are being educated about, um, during the process of raising them. So that's why I always say that be real with yourself so you can be real with others. Because I know what I've been through, and I know, that it has not been easy, finding my identity, but I found it. Okay. And can't nobody tell me about myself, So I'm at that point in life, but a lot of adoptees don't get there unless they have others who are advocating for them, others who, are real with themselves. And once you see that others are doing it, you'll have the courage to do it yourself. You'll get there.
Yeah, I don't think I would have automatically started talking about my journey on my own. So meeting you definitely helped me to feel comfortable talking about it. I mean, it's not like I'm uncomfortable. I just don't talk about it online. Like if
Right.
somebody asks me, or if I know somebody and they say, and I tell them I'm adopted, and I'll tell them my story, but I won't, I wasn't like openly looking to like talk about it online. But now, since I met you, I don't have a problem with it now.
Yeah, I mean, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. A lot of people, like, the word says we overcome by our testimony, right? And so if we don't get it out, we're not going to overcome. We're not, it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
but you have to get comfortable talking about it, because the more you get comfortable talking about it, the more that you can actually, speak over yourself and say, what, today's not that bad. I was able to, get this out, or I was able to express myself about this, or, and it's not always about getting answers. It's about being okay with what life has given you, because we didn't ask for any of it, right? And so, and no child asks to be born, but a child definitely doesn't ask to be born and then taken away, you know, from their biological family to be put in a whole bunch of different families. You know, it's just not something that it's just not something that we ask for. And so being comfortable speaking about that uncomfortableness makes you it makes you a little bit more authentic to yourself. Not talking about it and not being able to express it, it tells your brain that you're hiding something, and then your brain and your body and your mind, it will follow that. Meaning, if I don't say anything about it, no one will know. Well, child, don't nobody gotta be okay with it but you. And if you're not okay with it, then it's not going to be okay. So, you know, you have to start the practice of speaking about what has made you uncomfortable in life. And for me, it was adoption. For you, it might be something else. And that's okay. I also went through therapy. Therapy was something that I had to go through. Why am I so angry? I can't knock this if I tried, so I'm going to have to try something else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just letting anything fly out of my mouth. No, I'm hurting people that don't deserve it. I need help. Like, I knew that I needed help, and I knew that, you know, adoption was the root cause of, you know, seeking out that help. And I wasn't in denial. I knew I needed the help. And that's another thing that a lot of adoptees have to face. When you know you need the help, go get the help. Because fronting and acting like you're okay is only going to hurt you even more. It's going to hurt you even more because you're going to try to solve those issues on your own. And most times, those things that you're doing to solve the issues probably makes you worse health wise, because you're trying to self-soothe. So maybe you're eating too much, maybe you're drinking too much, maybe you're smoking too much, maybe you are indulging in corn, maybe you're doing things to take your mind off of what needs to be, you know, pretty much addressed. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't address it, you're going to try to dress it up to be something that it's not.
For sure.
Vices, yes, vices. A lot of adoptees have and foster children have vices because they don't know how to express themselves in a healthy manner. And then the vices, they no longer have vices, the vices have them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It turns into health issues. It turns into, you know, wanting to harm themselves once they can't get things under control. It can spiral into a horrible situation. And so, again, be real with yourself so you can be real with others, because that's the only way you're going to be able to overcome. All righty, y'all. Now we have somebody support the channel. $50 super chat. I appreciate you. I don't even think it's StreamYard. Get it together. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you guys. The chat was live tonight. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all coming out on a Tuesday night to hear about adoption, foster care, our stories. You know, we come here to educate as well as to advocate. And, you know, the first video that we showed will show you that people will come online and pull at your heartstrings just for it to be fake. But here on the Real Precious, we like to, you know, keep it real and say the uncomfortable things out loud, and, you know, engage in our co-host, which is our audience here, chiming in and giving your thoughts and your experiences. So I appreciate you. This is going well. You know, we were on Instagram for a little bit and you was like, now, why don't we take this over to you? You got a whole channel over there, girl. What's wrong with you? So thank you so much for encouraging me to come back to YouTube.
Sure.
I appreciate you. Phenomenal show once again. Everyone take care until we meet again. Yes, yes, yes. Precious, what is your YouTube? It is the real Precious. I just put it in the chat. It's the real Precious. If you let me see, I think the at is the like TheeReal Precious on YouTube. Because I think the THE was taken, so I had to add an E. But yes, thank you guys. Thank you. You have any closing thoughts this evening, Leon? Because we're gonna get out of here in a little bit.
I wish these people stop lying on the internet.
Okay.
Like, come with some real stories. Like, because when that gives false information, people are just, like you said, they're just trying to get clicks. They're trying to get views. They're trying to get monetized, or they're just trying to rage bait, or whatever they're trying to do. Like it's not. And then we have to come on here and do the investigation and
Get the story straight.
debunk the story. So I mean, that's good that you found that information. Like, because it reminded me of that other story with the little girl. Exact. But other people had, I think her mother basically made her apologize, and that wasn't even an apology. Like,
No, I think her mom was still like surprised that she went on social media to do that. Like, what you tell these people?
she probably been watching other kids do it, and she's like, "Oh, I need to try this out."
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this follow the leader when it comes to adoption. Y'all need to don't do it to yourself. Don't do it.
No, I enjoyed it. It was a good conversation. Too bad that video wasn't actually the truth, but I mean, that's why you have people like you who go and investigate and figure out what the truth is, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. We want to give people an actual story, and we want to show them that there are people that deceive online,
Yeah.
and you can't believe everything that you see. You have to actually go and investigate and figure out. Because sometimes when I watch videos online, I'll be like, I wonder if this is real. Like,
Right.
so.
Investigating in the time, so you just keep scrolling, like, right?
Mhm.
Just you have that thought to yourself and you keep it moving.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Tonight was a good show. And don't get me wrong, there are mothers who, come to their wits end and they just don't want to handle their responsibility anymore. However, these mothers, there's a clear distinction because they probably have already put something before the child, maybe something like an addiction, or maybe abandoning the child, meaning, the child is found. You hear a lot about mothers who have babies and they leave them at the doorstep of a fire station or a hospital,
Mhm.
something like that. You do hear about these stories. So while this is spreading misinformation, excuse me, while this is spreading misinformation, don't get it twisted. There are mothers who cannot mother their children, and so they put them up for adoption. However, it just doesn't happen in the manner that this young lady expressed this story, and I was able to catch on to that pretty quickly. What do you mean by follow the leader? This has become a trend. I think a lot of people are following the leader on this trend and don't follow the leader on a trend about adoption, about things that you don't know the depths of or have any experience with, because either people like me are going to find out that you are a fraud, or you are going to pull at the heartstrings of total strangers who are ready to get up all in your business and wonder who this child is and wonder where you guys are, wonder if they can adopt the child. They're going to get so enthralled with the story, a fake story at that, for views, just stupid, you know? So that's what I mean when I say don't follow the leader.
Don't follow the trends that aren't
Yeah, the trend.
actually worth believing,
Right. Right. And unfortunately, that's social media for you. You know, there are people who are unaliving themselves because of trends. There are people who are harming others because of trends. There are stampedes of people showing up in one spot and people dying because of a trend or somebody said something on social media. And so we have to get a little bit more wise. We just have to be wise with it. You know, social media was only for college kids back in the day. Now any and everybody can have it. And it's scary because you don't know what's real or what's not until you investigate. So I appreciate you guys this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We will be live again tomorrow night. Do you feel personally compelled to adopt one day? Personally, no. I'm just being honest. Would I? I say I would, but realistically, I'm okay mentoring. I'm okay, you know, doing the being the resource for the child outside of the adoptive parent. Um, you know, I feel like I would adopt a child. I definitely would never put a child up for adoption. That's not an option for me. That's not something that I would do. But adopting a child, I would. It just I it's just not in my plans to do. But I think being more of a mentor on the mentor's end or an advocate is more my lane. I don't even know if I have one child. I don't know if I want more kids, you know. But I just feel like adoption just takes you through there. Okay. Adoption take you through there. All right. And so, you know, you have to know yourself. You have to know what you're capable of and what you're not capable of. And I'm capable of giving that external information and guidance and resources and helping those who need help finding their biological families. And, you know, that's the part that I play in this community. Everybody is not meant to be an adoptive parent. Even some adoptive parents who have adopted, that wasn't what they were supposed to do, but they did it anyway. And thank God for them because they were the vessels that God used. But at the end of the day, just because you can do something don't mean that you should do something.
That's true. No, I don't see. This is my way of giving back. Like coming on this platform, giving my perspective. I don't foresee me adopting kids. Not unless if I meet someone and they wanted to, that'd be a different story. But me
Right.
personally, no, I don't foresee that.
Same. All right. All right, guys, we will be live tomorrow back here at 9 p.m. Eastern time with the men's forums, a men's platform that we have. Women are more than welcome to join, listen in, tap into the conversation. We're going to get into a traffic stop that occurred with a Black woman and her son. We're going to talk about that video. She has lawyered up, and the lawyer is pretty much saying it was an unlawful arrest. So we're going to get into that video and how things could have been handled a little bit better, and a couple of other videos. So definitely join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, same time, same place. Be here. Okay. But until then, be real with yourself so you can be real with others. Subscribe to the channel, the Real Precious Network. Here on the Real Precious, we say the uncomfortable things out loud. You guys have a great evening. It was great being here with you tonight. See you tomorrow.